Tide goes 5-0 down in Troy. Couple of wins over the host Troy Trojans. Couple of wins over Murray State, including a come-from-behind win there in Game 4 of that event. A win over Big Ten opponent Maryland as well. So a great start for our next guest, Patrick Murphy, head softball coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide. What about it, Murph? Have to be pretty pleased with how things went down there in Troy, I'd guess.
Yeah, we need to keep doing this if we go 5-0 every week. My greatest, I don't know, I guess, best thing about the weekend was we went 5 games without an error, which probably is a long time since that happened. And it was the highest scoring opening 5-game weekend that we've ever had in the history of the program. So we had some really good starts. We only had the one game that was the poor game was the come from behind that you mentioned. And we just got behind batters in that inning. We walked a couple people. We hit a batter. We get 2 outs in the inning, think we're out of the inning, and then a girl hits a shot over our center fielder's head that clears the bases, and then all of a sudden you have a game. And, of course, when you let somebody hang around, they're going to get more confident, and their pitcher thinks she's the first-team All-American, and their hitters think they're the best thing ever. And you know, we have to score. I think we scored 7 runs in the bottom of the 6th, 7 or 8. So, but I was really pleased with the hitters as well. We had Kaylee Tao was awesome. She hit like 692, was the SEC Player of the Week. Bailey Hempel had, I think, 15 RBIs in the 5 games. Claire Jenkins, Maddie Morgan, Reagan Dykes had a great weekend. Everybody hit about 440 or above, those 3. So it was fun to watch. It was, Claire played really good defense at shortstop. We had a lot of people get at bats. All 5 pitchers pitched. So it was a good weekend, and a lot of people. It was a fun atmosphere. We had 1,800 for the Friday night game versus Troy, and then Sunday, same thing. You know, close to 1,800 Sunday afternoon. It was pretty weather, so I was pleased.
You know, we talked last week, Murph, about those core returning players in your lineup: Tao, Hemphill, Reagan Dykes, Claire Jenkins, Alyssa Brown. But what about KB Sides and Maddie Morgan? Some players that you're really looking to maybe in year 2 or so of their careers to step forward. What did you get out of those players down there at Troy?
Well, a lot, both of them, because they both started. I think KB started all 5, and Maddie started. Yeah, well, I think she started all 5 too.
All 5, yeah.
Yeah. She had a game where she had, I think, 2 doubles, a bases loaded double. She had 5 RBIs, 3 for 3. And she hit, maybe in the 8th spot all weekend, but I don't care where you hit. There was one game where 7, 8, and 9 went 9 for 11 with like 9 RBIs, scored 9 runs, and that's turning the lineup over, So I was really pleased with both of them. KB hitting the 2 spot. Every now and then she'll get a little excited and expand the strike zone too much. But she's exciting to watch because she can drag bunt, she can slap, and she can hit it out. And she had quite a few doubles. I think we had the most doubles we've ever had as well on opening weekend. So to me, they were hitting the right pitches because, we've been doing this drill since we started spring practice where I put 5 softballs across the plate, and each one has a number, and the one closest inside is 1, and then 2, 3 is down the middle, 4, and 5 is outside corner. And it doesn't matter if you're righty or lefty, number 1 is always on the inside. So we've been, and then I pitched to them, and when they hit it, they had to tell me what they thought the number of the ball was where it crossed over the plate. And what I never want to hear is a 1 or a 5, because to me that's, with 2 strikes, you got to expand the zone, but with an 0-0 count or 1-0, 2-0, you don't want to swing at a 1 or a 5. You want to swing at a 2 through 4. And I think with the number of doubles we had, they were hitting 2, 3, 4. Because if you hit 1 and 5, that's kind of a shot down the line, but you got a corner person standing there, so you either have to get it up in the air or hit it really, really hard. But KB had several doubles in the left center gap. So pitch selection was pretty good too.
Yeah, 13 doubles in 5 games for Alabama down there in Troy. 19 extra base hits in all. So yeah, you'll take that
yeah,
in
definitely.
in a 5-game stretch, right?
Oh, I know. Yes, big time. It was fun to watch because we were getting a lot. And Troy, I told her afterwards. I said they have a sophomore pitcher and a freshman pitcher, and those two they're gonna win some games. I wouldn't doubt if they had a regional bid in them this year. They play in a pretty good softball conference. I think they're going to win some games, and she's got half the SEC scheduled, so her RPI is going to be good. Maryland is kind of, I don't know, starting from scratch. They've had a lot of turnover, and I'm hoping that they win a bunch of games in the Big Ten. And then Murray State, they gave us a hell of a good game the second time. We run-rolled them the first time, but they're in their conference, Ohio Valley. That's a pretty good league. Jacksonville State usually wins it, but they've had a couple years where they've had not only the winner of the conference, but they have the number 2 team get an at-large bid, which is a pretty good accomplishment. So now, once we play somebody, we root for them the rest of the year. So the more wins that those 3 teams can get, the better for us.
We're talking with Patrick Murphy, head softball coach at the University of Alabama, on a Wednesday edition of Southern Fried Sports presented by Carty & Lloyd, attorneys at law, and Mercedes-Benz of Tuscaloosa. Now, Murph, we got to talk pitching because we previewed this a week ago. You've got 5 arms on this roster this year. As you said, that's the most you've ever carried in terms of pitchers. And as promised by you on this program last week, all 5 of them got time in the circle down there in Troy. A couple of 2-0 weekends for Montana Fouts, the celebrated true freshman. Crystal Goodman, the junior college transfer, comes in and picks up a couple wins, one in a start, one, I guess, in relief. So how did it shake out from a pitching standpoint? Looked like Sarah Cornell, the Hofstra transfer, also had a good outing for you.
No, and she got the Maryland game, so I think she threw a 2-hit shutout. Crystal, her first game, she only went 3 innings and didn't give up a hit and or a run. So she was, and I think her pitch count was unbelievable. It was like she threw 24 pitches and 22 were strikes, which is just crazy. Madison pitched well that game. She came in and pitched the last 2. Courtney started the Murray State game, and that was the game where she just, the first inning she breezed, and then the second inning she walked a couple, hit a batter, kind of put too many batters on herself. And then Madison came in relief, and that was that game where it kind of snowballed on us. And Crystal came in and eventually got the win. But I thought Sarah looked really good. She had, I think, 6 strikeouts and maybe only 1 walk. The walks were down a lot. Montana, in her first win, I think she threw 2 hitters against Troy, which it's good for her because, she pitched this Friday night game in a great crowd, good competition, and then she came back against the same team, and I thought their pitching was better on Sunday. So it was a 0-0 game up until the 4th, and then we put 7 on the board, took the starter out, and after that it kind of got away from them. But it was cool to see her pitch against a team that had already seen her. And, usually it's a cat and mouse game where the hitters are going to make an adjustment and then the pitcher has to make an adjustment. So it was good for a freshman to do that. And I was pleased with everybody, really. Montana or Madison and Courtney, they're going to pitch better. So they'll both have better weekends coming up.
Montana Fouts, 13 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts, 0 walks. I mean, you got to love that. Now, that ratio will work every time when you talk about free passes compared to strikeouts and innings pitched. As we let you go here, Murph, I guess you're getting ready to hit the road again, right? This time going a little bit out west to Arizona. Should be a fun trip. Yes,
we're going to Tucson, and we have South Florida, regional team last year, Illinois, Chicago, conference champion regionals, Cal State Fullerton, a regional team, New Mexico, and then a super regional team in Arizona they're opening about a $9 million renovation of their stadium, which at one point was the best stadium in college softball. And they put $9 million into it from last summer, and their opening game is actually tomorrow night versus New Mexico, and then we get to play I think Saturday afternoon against them. So great respect for their program. Their coach is a Hall of Famer. He's won 8 national championships. He's one of the best in the business. So, and then what's cool about him is he's coming to us next year. So there's not very many Pac-12 teams that'll do a home and home with us, but he's one of the few, and we absolutely love it when they come to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, some college softball royalty getting together out in Tucson this weekend with Alabama and Arizona. We'll have a great trip out there, Murph, and
hey,
whether you go 5-0 or not, we're going to join you again next week and recap the trip and look ahead to what's next.
Well, I hope it's 5-0.